we head to the courts, and Captain has joined me this morning. We head to Nsawam, but we are not prisoners. We are not visiting prisoners, but we are looking at some prisoners who now have their freedom. That's an interesting one. Captain, good morning.
Good morning, Lily. How are you?
I'm doing awesome,
Great.
as always.
Yes,
How are you?
I'm good. Yesterday I was at Nsawam prisons. Yes, not at a prisoner though.
Yes, absolutely.
As a visitor.
Yeah.
So yesterday the Justice for All program touched base at the Nsawam medium security prisons, and in fact, the objective of the exercise is to make sure that persons who are on remand and from some way somehow have not been produced in court for their fate to be determined, to have some kind of justice. And yesterday you could see people on remand for as long as over 12, 13 years, and they have been on remand. They have not been brought to court. Some 7 years, some 5 years, and all that. So you could see clearly that the exercise was needed in the prisons to ensure that persons who go to or who appear, or the applicant who appear before the court, then will have the opportunity for the court to hear their story and then a decision taken on them and all that. So let's go to the Nsawam prison. Yesterday, 24 applications were considered. And in fact, I must say, out of the 24, about 22 of them were somehow lucky. 12 were free, they were discharged. Out of the 12, one person was acquitted and discharged because the offense that the person was charged with, if convicted and sentenced, the minimum is 5 years on natural canal knowledge, and then the maximum is 25 years. And the person has been on remand for 7 years. So just imagine if the person was in court and let's say the court says that I'm giving you the minimum punishment of 5 years, the person would have been done and gone. Another person, since 2011, he has been on remand, and they said he has been in court for just about once.
Wow.
And the rest in Salmon. And yesterday, the scenes, tears of joy. Let's go and watch this short report on what happened in Salmon yesterday.
The Justice for All Foundation has touched base here at the Nsawam medium prisons, and in fact, over 20 applications were considered, and out of the 20, I can tell you that 12 of them have been successful. 12 people are walking free. They are going home. They have been discharged. In fact, 10 of them were also granted bail because of the situation that they find themselves here. But let's talk to some of these people who have been discharged by way of they being freed to go home. But you're saying?
From Musa Hubda.
Musa Hubda. That been about
2018.
2018. Money been a do ba.
Pacho Meda na dem buy.
Meda with you.
Musi Meda.
Musi with you.
Musi Mediu.
Musi with you. Enti uba ni yadi wako court.
Min court da.
Since I do ba 2018 un court.
Since I made dem ba fear min court da.
The end na no mo catch ro.
Omo catch nchire me dem wa just ama ebe ma me bail. My partners na ya jai omo. Ya jai omo best 4 years ni.
The Justice for All Foundation abaha exercise na ba no yes e jai omo ko fie ofa ni sen.
Oh masa, omo ba sa ba we so nkun de mami. We ma try before me qualify, ba we kire say me come fie ma nya me fan wodi. Me do ma se ana me tie ni so me ni obia o kame ho. I just Nyankopon pe. Nyankopon on waya mami na me da na senso.
Tanasi bebe Nyankopon tanasi pa ajodoa bebe dia me kapana na me wie. Okay, asema ja. Ajodoa we kame ni boafo bia. Akaba ni me papa ko. We kame ni dia but maybe I want to be a baby born. So they said they may buy a check.
I came to Ghana to, let's say, to work as, I will call it Yahoo.
Work as Yahoo?
Yeah.
What does Yahoo mean?
We call it fraud.
Fraud? You came to Ghana to defraud?
Yeah.
People?
But not Africa. Aside.
Why did you not do it in Nigeria but Ghana?
Because we don't have a steady light.
A steady light? What is steady light?
Light.
Light. Yeah. What light means?
That is the normal NEPA light. We don't have it steady.
Okay. So when you came to Ghana, what happened?
Yeah, I was with my chairman at Kaswa. So we have a problem with sharing money.
So how were you supposed to share the money?
We're supposed to share 40-60.
Okay, 40-60.
Yeah. So the
Who gets 60 and who gets 40?
That's my chairman. His own is 60, my own is 40.
Okay. And what happened? Did you get your 40?
No.
What happened?
He said he will not give me the 40, they will give me 30. I said no. So we have an argument, quarrel. So I took the 30, then I took my laptop and my things, then I left to hotel.
So you left your chairman's place to a hotel?
Yeah.
Okay. And what happened after when you went to the hotel?
Yeah, I was in hotel in, let's say, like 1 week. So the day making 1 week. So I went out around 12 o'clock midnight to London Bar along Kaswa Road, there, Choice. So I went there to took, normally prostitute.
You engaged the services of a prostitute?
Yeah.
And what happened?
So I took her in. So she only took spine off. He said she was already drunk at her madam. That day is her freedom day. That is her day she settled her madam. So she took only spine off. So at the end, the next morning around something 5 to 6. So I woke her up. No way, she's not waking up. So
She died. She died.
she died.
You didn't do anything to her?
No.
Start taking the drink?
No. So I checked, there's white foam coming out on her mouth. So I rushed down to call the hotel attendant. So I drew that one attention. So she came and discovered that yes, it's true. So she even helped me, took her to the bedroom to on the shower on her. See, before the hotel attendant took phone, I called the owner of the hotel. So the owner of the hotel came down and I called the police to arrest me.
That was when you were brought here?
Yes.
Were you ever taken to court?
No, since 2019 I came to court. I was remanded to prison. I've never gone to court before.
Wow, that's an interesting one.
In this case, since 2019,
yeah, that's 5
he's
years
never
on.
been to court, and so that is the essence of the Justice for All program. So you go there, identify these people, and then justice is served on them. So you heard him clearly because he came to Ghana to do Yahoo, and then he ended up in someone. The laws are working. In fact, there's a longer version of the conversation that on our social media platform we'll hear very, very interesting ththings that they've been saying. But let's go and see what the co-chair of the program, in fact, Justice Ifia Sewa Saribuchi, Justice of the Court of Appeal, who is, as it were, in fact, in relation to this very program, she is the co-chair of Judiciary Criminal Justice Committee, and yesterday she was at the Nsawan prisons. Let's hear from what she has to say.
The Judicial Service notes with concern that despite the successes chalked, some non-governmental organizations use old data and statistics to create unwelcome stories about the criminal justice system in Ghana, especially about remand prisoners. Some also put stories in the public domain without verification after having only heard stories told by the prisoners. We want to assure the general public that that remand prisoners in Ghana are not quote-unquote locked and forgotten. All stakeholders are working tirelessly to reduce the period between arrest, detention, and final adjudication.
Yeah.
Yes, Justice Ifia Sewa Saribuchi. So yesterday,
and I saw my other favorite woman there,
So,
Justice Lydia
yes,
Osema.
so
Good morning to you, Justice.
Justice Lydia Osema for yesterday man one of the courts. Yes, in fact, yesterday I was in her court throughout the session, and you know one interesting thing that happened. How do you feel now when you are walking in town? Probably you meet one of your former teachers in school, and who was very critical at you, who didn't like you, you might say, was punishing you all along, and you meet the person in town.
Oh, well, I'll just tell them that your punishments have yielded results.
So yesterday, one of the interesting spectacles was that there was a guy, Justice Ifia Sewa Saribuchi, has convicted and sentenced to Nsawan. So yesterday they had a reunion.
Oh.
They had a hearing yesterday, and in fact, the convict was so appreciative of the punishment given to him. If you go to the prisons now, he's an officer, he's a leader who has been taking some of the inmates through a lot of skill training and other stuff.
Wow.
And yesterday had a very nice conversation with Justice Efia. Unfortunately, we couldn't take visuals or couldn't put it on record, so we couldn't have Justice Efia sorry, which was happening. But let's hear from POS Foundation, Jonathan Osewusu, the facilitators of the Justice for All program.
12 people discharged to go home. I always say freedom cannot be bought with money or anything. So in a day, a day's custody is something else. How much more some of them spending 11 years, 5 years, 7 years without trial, and today the court brought to the doorstep of the prisoner and they now pronounce that you've been discharged. You saw some of them crying. This is freedom that cannot be bought. So as much as we sometimes condemn some of the systems that we are running, this is also another intervention by the justice system that is also resolving some of the backlogs or issues that have come up as a result of systemic failure or challenges. So it's a good time that we all have to celebrate for our colleagues that have gotten justice and that they are going to reconcile or reunite with their family. If you look at the statistics my lady put out there, the remand population has moved from 33% during the Justice for All in 2007 to 10.8. Now the question is there any congestion, or do we still have congestion in our prisons? From the prisons authorities, yes. That means the convict population steadily have not dropped.
Okay, so that's Jonathan Osei, he's the executive director for the POS Foundation.
So they are in charge
Kudos
of
to them. Yeah.
Justice for All Foundation. And notice that it started in Kumasi earlier, where a 14-year-old juvenile was also in custody when he ought not to be there. So that is the importance or significance of this various. Yesterday, some people were lucky and others. In fact, 2 people cases were refused because their stories were not consistent. So the court was of the considered view that they cannot grant them bail. So out of the number, like we said, 12 discharged, 10 of them were granted bail, and then 2 applications were refused.
Anyway, let's look at some of the cases coming up. Today is Thursday, so obviously the ambulance case will be in court. Tuesday they couldn't sit because the finance minister had to deliver the media budget review, and so the minority leader, who is the first accused, could not make it because he had to represent in parliament.
So on Tuesday we were expecting, the court was hoping that Dr. Alex Segbefia, the former Minister for Health, would be in court, but like you mentioned, because of the media review budget, so the case did not come on. So today we'll know the plan. In fact, today's schedule was for the Chief of Defense Staff, military, will have to be the one to come to court as per the plan that was had. But today we'll know where the court will put Mr. Alex Segbefia, because he was supposed to appear on Tuesday and it didn't happen. But today's sitting, Chief of Defense Staff and one other witness, I beg your pardon, are supposed to come and testify for Richard Jakpa, the third accused person, also a businessman. So that is what we do expect today to happen. So that case will surely come up today.
And then Oliver Baka is also expected to move on application today.
So there are 2 cases that Oliver is involved now. And the other leg is a civil one between him and then Albert Kandapa, the National Security Minister. But this one has to do with the one that the state is charging him for treason felony, 2 counts of treason felony. Today, Justice Mami Ekwe Yenzu will be hearing a motion on an application from lawyers of Oliver Baka Formawo. They are asking for a stay of proceeding because there were certain things that they were asking the court earlier to refer to the Supreme Court for interpretation, but the court said there's nothing to interpret. So it was dismissed or overruled. In fact, it was dismissed. So they intend to challenge that at the Court of Appeal. So on top of that, they are asking the court to say, look, we are going to your upstairs. We are going to the 3 wise men at the Court of Appeal. Hold on to whatever is here. Let's go. Whatever will happen there, we'll come and report to you. So Justice Mary Mami Ekwe will make a determination as to whether, or we hear the parties, the applicants, prosecution, and will make a determination whether to stay the proceedings and wait for the Court of Appeal or the court will decide otherwise. So that's what we do expect also in relation to this case. So these are the two main cases, and of course, those that will chance on them along the line.
You report to us
Absolutely.
here on the EIB network. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Captain.
Lily.
As always, he updates us on things we missed in court and things happening in court. That's it for court today. Welcome back to the show. This is still GH today here on GHOne TV. It's now time for the breakfast review. It's now time for the breakfast review, and on Tuesday, Finance Minister Dr. Mohammed Adam delivered the mid-year budget review to Parliament and to the full hearing of all Ghanaians. Key among the issues or his presentation was that road tolls will be brought back. Does it suppose that e-levy will be abolished? Because government was very emphatic. His predecessor, Ken Kuntunkuni Ofuriatta, was very emphatic that government was going to generate the needed revenue to shore up the economy with the e-levy. Did government under-respect, and so its expectations were short-lived? My guest this morning, Bernard Mona, is flag bearer aspirant for the People's National Convention, the PNC. Professor Titus Bayos, NDC parliamentary candidate for Lambusie. And we've been joined by Dr. Ezekiel Ejekum Obeng. He's a member of the NPP communications team. Well, he's taking his seat. So let me welcome the two gentlemen here. Good morning, gentlemen. Good to have you.
Good to have you, lady.
How are you doing?
In an economy like this, how will we do? Or how will I do?
What do you mean by an economy like this?
An economy where, but because we'll be going into the details, where it appears that government official assessment of reality is different from the reality that we experience, where we are told that we are growing, and yet poverty is on the high, where we are told we are doing well, and our currency is flip-flopping, where we are told we are doing well, yet unemployment is at a different level, where we are told we are doing well, and people have suffered haircuts, and where we are told we are doing well, food prices are in a different realm, transportation in a different realm. You go to health insurance, and then you see that reality is that your health insurance card will actually be taken. But as soon as the doctor diagnoses everything, you get to the pharmacy or dispensary and they tell you this medication is not there, this medication is not there. Then you have to take a prescription to go out, to go and buy. So invariably, your health insurance is a useless card that you are carrying because it's not able to support your health needs. Anytime the doctor will do the diagnosis, but the medications you have to go and procure.
Yeah, interestingly, we have two doctors here. That's an interesting one. Good morning, Doc. How are you? Good to have you.
Oh, he's coming eventually.
Well, he's here. you know, I mentioned this while we're off air, that when doctors appear late, it practically means that they are attending to their first love, which is patients.
So you want to say when farmers appear late, they are not attending to their first love.
But you know, health is wealth. And
you don't know that food is health. If you don't eat, the doctors can do everything, but once you don't eat, you cannot survive.
I agree.
So it's complementary. Every part of our sectors support the other. And the doctor cannot even go to work if they don't eat. Or after work, if they don't eat, they will collapse. They cannot even attend to the patients, and the patients themselves will also go off. So also appreciate we the farmers.
Very much
Chief Farmer, we appreciate you this morning.
Very much appreciate.
But let's go into the mid-year budget review. The finance minister was in Parliament, and I said this yesterday and Hajia Rabi apologized on his behalf that I was not disappointed. Yeah. Why? Because he was late. I was expecting the finance minister to be late, but I was not expecting him to surpass his predecessor.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he was awfully late.
Yeah.
But the budget review was delivered.
Okay.
Without because. But Let's talk about a number of things. The road tolls that will be brought back. The finance minister says, well, road tolls will be brought back. Does it mean that e-levy will be abolished, as mentioned by Dr. Baumia?
I don't know. Okay.
Yes, I want to ask him. Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
To senior colleague, Tabeyu, and my shadow uncle.
Who is a chief farmer?
A chief farmer and aspirant.
Yes.
He's promised me a place in his cabinet.
Okay, so, okay. Yeah.
And good morning to our viewers.
He's a chief, and
yeah.
he's abandoning that to come.
So he's a chief who is a chief farmer.
Yeah.
What many don't know is that President Mahama is the chief of my community in Wa.
Okay.
And I'm surprised that he's not abandoning that dream to become president.
Anyway.
And I have just been reminded that Vice President Baumia is a chief in Damango. And so probably he should abdicate.
Anyway, Doc, let me hear you.
And a special good morning to the Vice President, our flag bearer, who is on his tour Upper West region. And we ask for a special grace and God's protection on him. I'm sad to note that Mr. Mona went to the hospital and doctors gave him prescription only for him to go to the pharmacy. And he was told none of the medications were available in the pharmacy. So he needed to go and buy from outside. But I believe what he means is that at the present moment when he was at the pharmacy, not that the NHI does not cover those medications, but rather they were not available at the pharmacies. And there are a lot of roadside pharmacy shops that accept the NHI. So next time, please, when it happens like that, kindly move out. You'll get those that accept the card. The scheme is in a good shape. We left total subscribers as of 2009 when Dr. Bayu and the NDC took over. Total subscription of around 12.5 million people. By the time they were exiting, we were doing just a little above 11 million. It showed how the public confidence dwindled in the scheme. Today, we are proud to say that we are doing over 17.7 million subscribers. Indeed, if the scheme is collapsing, we wouldn't have that much outpour of confidence in the scheme. But of course, if there are areas that need to be improved, issues of co-payments, where facilities will accept the card, bill the NHIS for payment, and yet still ask patients to pay. All those things are issues that we all need to be part of protecting the scheme, to bring these issues out for NHIS to also follow up on those areas. But of course, we need to speak to the good and the bad aspects of delivering, such that we can also protect the scheme for the benefit of those that would require the services of the NHIS. Moving on to the budget, yet as expected, was delivered, and I was quite surprised government did not ask for additional funding. But the finance minister...
Why are you surprised?
There's a lot government's already doing. The resumption of road projects across the country. I used the Bosokai area yesterday, the Wechebilamte interchange, and they are still working. So I packed and I spoke to a few of the contractors, and I was assured that they would at least finish by...
One contractor.
Those working on the road, yeah.
And
I was assured,
not the contractors.
Yeah, the supervisors, I mean.
Okay.
And I was assured that by September or ending of the month, they would complete the project. So I was expecting government to ask for additional funding. More. But of course, government says it's spending within its means, to ensuring fiscal discipline within the budget. An estimated deficit of 2.7 by end of the first half of the year. Government is doing around 2.6. It shows the commitment of government to make sure that we are spending, but we are spending within targets and within our means. And one of the things that really got my attention was the SME goal, that the government intends to dedicate 8.2 billion Ghana cedi to supporting small and medium-scale enterprises. If you look at the business environment, if you go to the Registrar General, over 80% of all businesses registered are small and medium-scale enterprises. And if you check our GDP contribution and our tax revenue contribution, the small and medium scale enterprises do about 70% of all revenues collected. It shows that we need to give a special attention to the area of small and medium scale enterprises because they are the largest contributor of revenue mobilization in the country. So I'm happy the government, the president launched the SME goal, dedicating a whopping 8.2 billion Ghana cedi to supporting small and medium scale enterprises across the country. And I always say that if you have at least 1 million Ghanaians who are well-to-do, well-established, and they are supported by state's provisions, and they are even to employ one additional person, that's the reduction of unemployment rate to the tune of 1 million people. So it's a call in the right direction that government seeks to empower small and medium scale enterprises, boost production, expand their frontiers for them to be able to employ additional hands to curtail the issue of unemployment. And government also spoke about the debt restructuring they've had, with our external creditors and the Eurobond markets as well, and the opportunity it portends for our economy. The slashing of our debt to the tune of around $4.3 billion and some relief within the period of repayment and the Eurobond to the tune of about $4.7 billion. And with the bilateral creditors...
The other one is 4.4, not 4.3.
4.4, yeah. And the bilateral creditors, by the time we are done with the payments of the restructuring, the country will save up to around 2.8 billion. So it's, once again, tells how the government and the finance ministry was able to get Ghana a very good deal. But it also means that we, as a people, are not going to, once again, carry huge sums of money to go and service our debts as expected. It gives governments a room to maneuver. So I'm not surprised those projects are already on course and they've restarted. So it helps governments. It helps government to save, it helps government to plan. And we've had some form of depreciation, but of course the year-on-year depreciation as compared to before has curtailed. And the issue of inflation, we peaked around 54%. Today, we are talking around 22.8%. The government is on course of achieving the end-of-year target of 15%. So yes, the forward outlook of the economy is good. We understand government hasn't said the cedi is not depreciating, but we hope we would come to a levels where business communities will have much more room to do their businesses, especially those that require dollars to do their businesses. We are not saying food is not going up, but the rate of appreciation of goods and services has markedly reduced. And looking into the future, the revision of economic growth and what we are currently experiencing, then indeed government has turned the corner. We at least empathize with people who had to endure some difficulties within the period of 2022 into last year. And we still had some issues of power challenges. Today, it's resolved. Government has renegotiated the legacy debts, including the payment to the IPPs, to making sure that the Ghanaian people have stable electricity for businesses and social consumption. So putting everything together, I believe it's spelled out the state of our economy, where we were at the peak of our problems, and what government has put in place vis-a-vis the post-COVID program for economic growth government entered with IMF, and what the future holds for the country. So it spells, once again, a good omen, and it gives confidence to the Ghanaian and the business community that indeed, looking at the statistics and where we are now, we are still charting the path of recovery. But of course, the future is always bright. If you stick to what government is doing right now, if we are committed to the policies that have been laid for us to, turn the corner, definitely, the Ghanaian economy will show some
Since
pride.
you talk about empathizing with Ghanaians, is government keen on cancelling the e-levy?
The flag bearer has mentioned it, that from 2025, when he's given opportunity, he's going to slash certain taxes, including the e-levy. And the e-levy was brought for a period, at a period where we're at the peak of our problem. So he believes that by the end of this year, it is possible to cancel those levies, including e-levy. So yes, the government is committed to it, and the flag bearer has said it times with that number, that indeed, from next year, when power is transferred to him, can't see the goodwill of Ghanaians.
But
he's going to cancel it.
Okay, my other confusion is, you remember the then finance minister, Kenneth Friata, said road tolls were not generating enough. It was, for want of a better expression, a nuisance tax. Why then revert to road tolls?
It feeds into the narrative of the flag bearer again. He's promised that, given the opportunity, henceforth, our school infrastructure and our major road construction, we are not going to use lump sums of money, borrow monies to come and construct those roads. What he intends to do is to partner with the private sector, come and construct good roads for us, be able to toll those roads, then through that, you'll be able to collect the proceeds from the toll to offset your debt. So it feeds into the narrative of what we intend to do as a party moving forward from the next year. So I understand the question and the difficulty, but of course there's a laid down plan. It's not just coming in because we just want to put things out there, but there's a targeted intent and a well thought process and plan that government intends to execute when the power comes to His Excellency Dr. Bawumia from next year. And it feeds directly into the narrative of broadening the tax base. It feeds directly into the narrative of making sure we are looking elsewhere, our mineral sector, to making sure that we are harnessing as much as possible the potential we have logged in our soil. And when that happens and we're able to broaden the tax base, as he's spoken about, making sure that we are roping in the informal sector through the proper identification system and proper business registration system, roping the informal sector, give them incentives to be able to help their businesses and let them also pay some taxes. Then it gives government, once again, the room to see where we can halt some of the proceeds that we are getting today and where we can look at to making sure that we are even getting extra more than we are getting from these areas. So yes, I understand, but there is a proper plan that government has to making sure that once we are letting go of others, we are also doing what is needed to making sure that a lot more comes into our coffers.
I'll take a quick break, and when I come back, I'll take the thoughts of Professor and Chief shortly. Stay with me. Welcome back to the show. This is still GH today, and we're still on the breakfast review. Since we have doctors in here, let me tell you the importance of donating blood to save lives. Now, Eris Properties, in collaboration with the Ghana Blood Bank, is inviting you to a blood donation exercise. The exercise will take place this Friday, July 26th, from 9 a.m. through till 4 p.m. here at the fourth terrace of the Platinum Place building. If you're looking for the Platinum Place building, we're located adjacent to the SU Towers. Please come and donate blood to save a life. Remember, a pint of blood can save not just your life, but it could be that loved one. We're still talking about the mid-year budget review. We're doing a post-mortem of it. Dr. Ejekumo Bing has explained a few things the government is doing, especially as we inch closer to the end of the year. You say, well, that's his explanation. Prof, let me come to you.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to my brother Bernard, and then to a colleague, and then good morning to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the next president of the Republic of Ghana, and then Professor Jenano Pukwajiman, a vice president in waiting, one who is going to restore dignity to the office of the vice president that unfortunately has been denigrated with lies and deception. And a very good morning to the people of Lambuse who are watching us this morning and following this discussion. Listening to my friend and listening to the entire budget, I think it's the modus operandi of the ruling government and its communicators has never changed. It's unfortunate that things are that way. I mean, sometimes when I listen to him, when I just listened to him, I was wondering whether it's the same budget we all listen to and whether we are all in this country. First of all, my overall estimation or assessment of that budget is that, or the media review of the budget was that it's empty. It's at best another attempt at scamming the Ghanaian.
How so?
Now, so let me go a bit into the detail. I'll go into health, my area, a bit later. But if you look at a government that comes to project and say, oh, we are reducing expenditure, and then we are actually projecting that revenue will go up by 0.5%, That's lovely put. But the detail is what we should be looking at. So what measures is government taking to reduce expenditure? And you go into the budget and you realize that all that government has done is because of these negotiations on debt exchange. They are reducing payment of the debt and interest accrued on this debt. So when you postpone a payment to 2026, on your books this year, it will look nice that you have reduced expenditure this year. But in reality, you have pushed that payment to another year. So you present very lovely pictures to a picture to us in terms of figures. But if you are anybody interested in interrogating the figures, you realize that it's just a scam. And I'm saying it's a scam basically because all that they are telling us is that because we have deferred this payment to 2026, this year we are reducing expenditure. If government was committed to reducing expenditure, I would have loved to hear things like, we are reducing the number of ministers, we are reducing first-class travels, we are reducing the number of...
But was it possible to reduce the number of ministers, looking at the number of months we have to the polls?
My dear, even when we had the opportunity and some ministers left, some were sacked in another way, what did government do? They just replaced them. Anybody committed to reducing government expenditure, would you have replaced with some few months to go? What is the point? We still have CEOs, deputy CEOs. How long ago was it when the STC staff protested when government wanted to appoint a second or a third deputy CEO? Is it a government committed to reducing expenditure? And so you notice that in their budget statement, when they talk about reduction in expenditure, they could not go into any austerity measures that they have put in themselves. They are still living large, very opulent display of wealth, state capture, acquiring everything that can be acquired. Yet, because they have deferred this payment, which they have no contingency plan, I was looking forward to seeing someone who is thoughtful of this country to tell us that, yes, truth is we are not paying this debt now. We are postponed the payment to 2026 and beyond. So as a result, we have created this fund. We are going to accumulate money so that when we get to that point, we will have something to pay. But what government is doing is passing the buck. And it's been done in several areas. So you talked about road toll. They said they are reintroducing road toll. Never mentioned anything on how they are going to do it, but they've passed the buck to 2025. Whoever inherits, because they are very clear in their mind that they are going to opposition. So we'll pass it on to you. Come and handle it. So we'll make the call ahead. We have informed Ghanaians that we are reintroducing road toll. Come and work out the modality on how to introduce road toll. Do you get it? Because you cancelled it. If you want to introduce it now. What prevents you? Come out with the modalities and let's hear. But
that will be overburdening the ordinary Ghanaian.
Good. That's what I'm telling you. Because we are in an election year, because we know, you just asked the question right. If you are reintroducing road toll, then what happens to e-levy? Right? Because that was on the back of e-levy that he cancelled road toll and gave us all sort of whimsical explanations for what will be even done to the toll booths, including using them as restrooms and all of that. Something that you couldn't even comprehend. And so my point is, if really government wanted to do something about it, tell us what you want to do now. But they passed the buck. And when I say it's a scam, I'll give you another way in which it's a scam. Okay. When you look through this whole budget, you look at a place like the revenue. They say 0.5% increase in revenue. You ask yourself, where is that revenue coming from? Is it they have overtaxed everybody, and that tax is not yielding results because the container volume at Tema has reduced by almost 50%. Because the tax is so high, you import a small vehicle like a Mattis, and the taxes you pay on it, Corolla, now people cannot even buy them because of these taxes. People have found smarter ways, so they won't even bring them in. The city is losing value, so people are not importing. Now, because of this overtaxing, they were wise not to see that this overtaxing that they have done, Draconian taxes that they have put on people, has yielded this 0.5% increase. This 0.5% increase in revenue it's come from a visionary leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. But they won't admit it. But if you look into it, it's coming from revenue from ESLA. When was ESLA introduced? ESLA was put in the ESLA Act was introduced in 2015.
Yeah.
Right? His Excellency realized that we have legacy debt, challenges with the energy sector, and tried to consolidate all the levies in the energy sector and put in place a fund that was going to aid us handling this debt. When they came, what did they do? Someone established ESLA. And instead of finding another innovative way of protecting it, they established an ESLA PLC, a company, call it a special purpose vehicle, and went onto the bond market and mortgaged all the revenues that was in ESLA and dissipated that money that you cannot even tell where it's gone. These are the details Ghanaians should be seeing. So when you see that, oh, we are living within our means, what is the living within your means? That you have borrowed, that you cannot pay. You have cut people's hair in this country. Pensioners were at the Ministry of Finance begging. I saw my lecturers on their knees begging that release their lifetime savings so they can buy medications. You sit on that. And because you have refused to pay that, and therefore your expenditure in terms of payment has gone down. You've told your international borrower, people you borrow from, that you cannot pay. They should forgive you. They forgive you some 4-point-something billion and say pay the rest from 2026. And they say this year, because we are not paying that, our expenditure has come down. We should clap for you for that. When you go into health, the budget was very silent on a lot of things. One of the greatest sins that this government has done to the health of Ghanaians, and I think it is time we educate people for them to see, is that realignment and capping act they introduced, which all of us who contribute to the NHIS, they decide to cap how much NHIS receive, send that money to a central pool and dissipate it anyhow they want. And then they introduce something that they have captured renal dialysis. My dear, I'm an epidemiologist.
Okay.
I have a PhD in clinical epidemiology. Now, when you look at the distribution of renal dialysis patients in this country, and you look at the catchment area that they have decided to offer this service for, anybody who interrogates the figures will see that they have scammed the entire nation. They say people under 18, go and look at our dialysis register. How many patients going to dialysis are under 18? If you can count up to 10, come back to me. Then they go to above 60. Go and check how many patients undergoing dialysis are above 60 years. The bulk of people with renal failure
are in between.
They cleverly leave them out, and true to their character of sloganeering, come out to make a public noise. We have decided that NHIS is going to cover dialysis, and then put this caveat there. It's like putting a food down before your hungry children, and then putting it at a place that is not accessible to them and tell them I provided food for them. That is wickedness. That is unconscionable, because people who actually need this service are not the ones you are serving. And then you come out to make pomp and pageantry for people.
But they have a rebate. They've reduced it for them.
How much? Listen, look, I did the calculations here. It's not a dialysis topic, so I'm not going to go into details here on how much it's costing per person. I am telling you today, if government decided that it was going to take its hands off the NHIS levy and make that money available to the NHI and ask NHI to cover dialysis, they can cover it completely without challenge.
Okay.
People are getting dialysis for free in Africa. People are getting dialysis for as low as almost $2 in some parts of Africa.
Yeah.
Why must it be this way here? And if you cannot do it, then don't pretend to do it and ask people to applaud you. And that is what is running through the entire budget or budget review. You do not see any concrete thing that we have reduced. He was mentioning all sorts of things. We brought down inflation. Interrogate the figures, and you realize that the key drivers of inflation in this country is the exchange rate and food inflation. It's just these two. The
Because
rest,
food inflation is actually higher than the national inflation.
exactly. So if you take us to 52, 54%, and you bring it down to 20 something, and say we should clap
22.
for you, where was it when you took over? Where was inflation when you took over? So you worsen the situation, bring it back a bit, and then say we should applaud you. Bring it to where you took it from. When you were taking over, inflation was around 15. Where are we now? And you want us to applaud you? Look, there are several things in this budget I don't want to talk much about, but the summary of it for me is that it's an attempt, just as they usually do, to paint the picture very nicely. But I think all of us are feeling the budget in our own pocket. Right. Every Ghanaian knows what you are feeling. If the dollar for you today is about 16 cedis, if the pound is over 20 cedis, if the euro is over 16 cedis, then you know what your budget is. If you go and buy something, you go back and the price has quadrupled. You know what your inflation is. So for me, I think government should come again. And I'm not surprised. And I think I would agree with you that the act of the finance minister, with all due respect, the honorable minister for MP for Karaga, was unacceptable to have kept everybody waiting, to come that late, and also to come and present such an empty budget review without any specifics of what is being done and not telling us the details of what is being done. Okay. But the take home for every Ghanaian here listening to me is that government is not living within its means because they have not cut down any of their expenditure lines. They are rather increasing it in this election year. All that they have done is that they have deferred some payment that all of us will have to find a way of paying. And they have not put in place any plan on how we are going to pay when we get 2026.
Chief.
And to also say that I don't think that the Minister for Finance went to Parliament late. Otherwise, in the opening of the Speaker of Parliament and that of the leadership, they would have indicated their distaste and their abhorrence to his appearing before them late. What I do know is that the finance minister was virtually held hostage and we were at the risk of not receiving the mid-year budget review because government owes the District Assembly Common Fund so much so that the MP's share of the District Assembly Common Fund has not also been released. After all, it is the District Assembly Common Fund, when released, that the MP's share will come. Most of these MPs, knowing what will come, have gone ahead to award and give contracts for certain projects in their constituencies to be executed. The contractors and those who have executed these jobs are daily on the throats of our MPs, as if they owe, and yet it is the government that has refused. And given that this is the last budget of the government, they decided that, particularly the minority side, that they will not attend upon the budget statement until and unless the full assurance in writing is given to them. And so my understanding is that the Minister for Finance was actually in the House.
Okay.
But leadership and the Speaker and the Minister for Finance and later people had to come from Flagstaff House to come and join, and eventually they had to put pen and paper together to give them the assurance that your monies will be paid within. And I think that this is the language our government understands. You see, we're expecting the minister to be in the Parliament at 10 a.m. And he was actually there before 10 a.m.
Okay.
But he had to come into the floor after 2 p.m. That should tell you how shambolic this regime is. And I felt petty and pity for the Minister of Finance. Because he's a hapless young man. given a responsibility to reshape and to clean the mess. And this is what I always say. A child will go and shit, and the mother or an elder will have to come.
Decorum, please. This is early morning TV.
What?
You can say a child can ease themselves. Yes.
Sometimes, shit is not shit. I have to what?
Chief.
What do I do?
To ease themselves.
Even this morning, all of us, if you are normal, you would do.
Let's go back to the subject matter. Let's go back to the subject matter.
So Ken Oforiatta is like a child who has gone to shit. And Amin Anta is the one to come and wipe.
Okay.
That is what is happening.
Okay.
And so we put the economy in a terrible state. And unfortunately, we go and bring Amin Anta, who is struggling to wipe the debt and the mess that has been created. In the end, probably we are going to finish the, what do we call it? The external debt restructuring we did. We are going to do it in 2035.
Yes.
In 2035, the debts that we have utilized, of which Ken Oforiatta has benefited so much, that across cantonments, all the way to Labone to East Legon, properties are springing up.
And you have concrete evidence they are his?
Don't struggle. Just go to Labone and walk, and people will tell you this property, that is for this person, this property, that is for this person. They know.
Okay.
Do you understand? You don't need to struggle. They know who owns what. They live in the community. They know who comes there at what hour. They will point out to you every property. This is our country. And so, do you go, anytime we borrowed, Ken Oforiatta and his businesses and family, they became wealthy.
Yep.
Anytime Ghana borrowed, Ghana indebted itself, they became wealthy. So you have overborrowed that the economy has crashed. And today, we are, look, Ghana is wealthless, that the international community doesn't see you as anything. So we now have to go begging that, look, we have reached a useless stage that we cannot pay debts. So please forgive us, reschedule our debts. Now they have agreed that in 2035, you can now begin to deal with it. 2035, where will Akufo-Addo be? In the unlikely event, or where it is possible for the NPP to be in opposition, right? In the unlikely event that Bawumia becomes president, in 2035, will he still be president? So you have shifted the burden of your recklessness to a period that you will not be around for who to come and settle for you. Is that what a responsible parent will do to their kids? That is what an irresponsible government would do to the nation. And this is precisely what has happened. So when you come and you are telling us that the expenditure is going to be cut, it is going to be cut because you have moved the payment forward. So you are not going to pay. So it will artificially and fictitiously be seen as debt or as expenditure cut. There's no expenditure cut. It's expenditure that you have shifted for future generations to come and be saddled with. That is irresponsibility. Second, and you ask the legitimate question, the electronic TV levy.
Which one is that?
The e-levy.
But why would you refer to it as TV
It's a TV levy. You don't understand TV levy. Nowhere in the world do you see that working capital is taxed. Working capital. That is the amount of money that you use for your daily transactions. Lily, you are aware that anytime you have to transact things from your hometown in Kosal, anytime you are sending the money to go and purchase, that money, which is part of your capital, is taxed.
Yeah.
How do you want me to refer it? Not TV. That people's working capital is being stolen away from them can constitute nothing but TV. So anytime somebody wants to do something, and these days you say we should not carry, what do we call it?
Physical cash.
Fiscal cash. So I want to transact business. This is the amount of money I have, 10,000. As soon as I'm transferring the money to Ezekiel and say, go to Abosu Okan and go and buy. When I am in Sankana, I transfer the money to him. I'll be taxed. When he is also going to do some withdrawals, he will be taxed. My working capital is going down. It means that anytime I have to add more in order to maintain the same capital. I don't refer it as transactions, it's thievery. So permit me if I say thievery. Now, you introduce this. We told you that it was not going to yield your intended purpose. You ignored the wise counsel. And you told us that that e-levy was like Akobam. You know Akobam? Akobam, whether it's your waist pain, it's your head pain, it is your stomach pain, it is your whatever, Akobam was the solution. When we wanted to talk about it, you said, in order that you fix our roads, we should bring e-levy. Education problem, e-levy. Health, e-levy. Agriculture, e-levy. Unemployment, you told her that e-levy was the panacea. Today, you are not ashamed. You are not ashamed. You should be ashamed that what you thought was going to be the solution to our problems had failed. Quickly withdraw it and save yourself from the embarrassment. You have declined. Now, you withdrew road tolls, saying that e-levy was the solution to all our road problems. When we wanted, and I have insisted, when I become president, or when the MPP lose, who will ever become president, look, Amoakwata will have to be prosecuted and he has to refund. Because if you listen to the Minister of Finance then, Ken Oforata, or Miss Finance, if you listen, he said, look, they are proposing that Parliament will take a look to abolish road tolls within a certain period. As soon as he made that statement, the next morning, in fact, that night, Amoakwata issued a fiat and sacked the workers from the tolls and said the road tolls have been abolished. Under whose authority? Did Parliament approve? It was a proposal to Parliament. And you went ahead. So the period between the abolishment of the road tolls and till the time the Parliament approved it, those monies that were collected, we are told on average 78,000 Ghana cedis a day. The minister must be made to account for it and pay for it. That is causing financial loss to the state. So there are many candidates that will go to jail. Otherwise, they will refund the money to this nation. So, this budget, aside the fact that, look, Anta, ever since he came, you said that, look, no matter how difficult it is, people are okay.
Yeah.
Because the man who was stealing from us has been removed. So it doesn't matter what Anta does. People don't want to talk so much and be agitated by the economy. But clearly, no work is being done. Finally, did I hear them say that there is growth? Which growth are they talking about? That GDP. And you know, Anta has been my senior, my mentor in school. He became NUC's president when we were also thinking of becoming leaders of students. And they inspired us. Haruna Idrisu, Adongo and Co. But the same economics that were taught by Professor Mono and others is not what Anta is talking about. When you say gross domestic product is growing, it means the wealth of your nation is growing. How can you claim that your wealth is growing and you are going around borrowing and you actually owe? Prof, they don't owe you.
They owe everybody.
As we speak, the teachers, CTAG, they have been on strike for how long? They owe them. June. Yesterday, I was at the University of Ghana, Lehman Hall with Professor Jampu. They owe you TAC. Over 65,000 NAPCO, they created NAPCO. They created over 65,000 workers have not been paid. National service allowance is in arrears. And you claim that your wealth is increasing. Who owns that wealth? Let me repeat for your understanding. When you own nothing, and wealth is increasing, don't claim that wealth. Take the telecom sector, and I keep insisting. The telecom sector, which one do you own? Yet, the 20 million active users of mobile phones in this country, on average, we spend 10 Ghana cedis a day. So times 20 million, that is 200 million a day. Times 365 days a year. When the telecos collect the money, what is Ghana's government share? What is Ghanaians' share of that money? They take it. They are in Canada. They are in Papua New Guinea. They are in Australia. They are playing golf. Enjoying the wealth that they have mobilized. And see, when they mobilize that amount of money, they will not carry that amount of money in cedis to Australia, to Canada. So the dollars that government of Ghana goes to struggle to bring, they will convert these monies into dollars and carry it out. This is, you know, if you did elementary economics, there is a book by Owusu Asante, Economics Without Tears. It's basic in that book. And so I expect Amin Anta to come and actually be lamenting that our economy is not owned by us. And so this growth that we are seeing is actually not reflecting. That is how come that you talk about GDP growth and that GDP is not accompanied by real development on the ground. And so therefore we should be looking at restructuring our economy to control it, to handle it, to be responsible for the growth that we are getting. If the mid-year budget does not reflect this, then I couldn't agree with Prof. Beyo that it is actually empty.
Okay. Do you have any rebuttals?
Just
a minute, and then we can
yeah.
move to our next topic here.
I don't think there's any country in the world, no matter your wealth, that you do not owe. America, we don't.
Libya didn't owe.
It's
Libya didn't owe. I just giving you one example.
Superpower like America owes. A superpower like Japan owes. A superpower like UK, they owe.
They owe who?
And no matter how wealthy you are, you still fall on others. Business, right, transaction-wise, import, export, it happens across. And the measure of the state of deterioration, in quote, are the figures we are quoting today. The reason why we had the impetus to say things were going bad in terms of pricing was the inflationary figures. We were confident to churn out those figures to say things were bad. If the same measure is being applied today to our economy to say things are getting better, inflation is coming down, don't go to inflation. Yet you use the same figures to discredit the government. For my senior brother, anytime the NDC speaks, I'm saying that they told Ghanaians not to bring Mr. Mohammed back. You are talking about inflation. Where did we take it from? If I ask you that simple question, you can't even defend Mr. Mohammed on this platform. He took inflation from when? And for the entire period of his stewardship, never did he chalk any improvement in any of the economic indicators.
Oh my God.
If it's a measure of how good or bad a government is, then Dr. Beyo or Prof. Beyo is telling the whole world that Mr. Mohammed should not come close to the presidency. Check your GDP growth. Check your imports minus exports, your deficit. Check your inflation. You took it from around 9 and you ended with 15. Not
Did
a
we
single year.
ever get to 50?
Not a 15.
50.
I'm saying that not a single year did you
And then
better
what business
any.
that someone who took us to that 50?
I'm saying that
coming back.
How is that 1 minute?
not a single moment in the entire presidency did Mr. Mohammed chalk a single progress in whatever he came to meet. I'm confident to say that prior to COVID, I did far better than all the indicators I came to meet. Yes, within COVID, during the peak of my problems, I got to a certain level. But today I'm bringing it down. I've halved it. I've done over 31% percentage decrease in where it peaked. With the 15 or the 17 you chalked, did you even reduce it by 0.1? It shows how incompetent you are. And you are speaking about dialysis patients. Government has taken steps to assist some people to offset their debt, and you have issues with it. When you were painting your faces on our buses, people were dying of kidney disease. When Mr. Mohammed was president and he thought of using our monies to paint his faces on our buses. People were dying of kidney disease. You didn't think of them. So if it's a measure, then he doesn't come close to the presidency. When he was investing in a confirm, people were dying of kidney disease. We thank God we are both doctors. During the time I was in medical school, I believe, and he did a few tutorials for me at the Ops and Ghani department. At the time he was doing those tutorials for me, Mr. Mohammed was investing our monies, millions of cedis in our confirm. And when I leave the ONG ward, just across the street is the medical ward, and I was seeing the dialysis patient dying. Yet Mr. Mohammed thought it wise to invest in a confirm that we didn't see any. He thought it wise to use our monies to plant trees that we didn't see any. He thought it wise to use our money to pay dubious judgment debt. Yet kidney disease patients were dying. Dr. Abiyu, would you recommend such person for Ghanaians to vote for? To end with NHIS, your scorecard. I'm capping NHIS. It is there. Everyone is seeing it. But in the end, the public confidence is what I told you. That you took NHIS subscription. That's your scorecard. In 2009, you took it from 12.5 million active subscribers. By the time you were exiting, you were doing 11.03 million subscribers. It shows how poor you manage NHIS. Today, with the introduction of the novelty by Dr. Baumia, and even with the capping, with my relationship with service providers, I'm doing 17.7 million Ghanaians. How many NHIS? No, you couldn't even add a single soul to the 12.5 million you came to me. You rather depreciated and dissipated the numbers, dwindled and brought down the entire confidence in the NHIS. Even with my capping, today, I'm doing 17.7 million Ghanaians. So in effect, anytime the NDC speaks, and you are citing examples, I'm a doctor, dialysis and whatnot, yet you were investing our money to confirm NHIS, whatnot. You took an average of 12.5 million, you brought it down to 11 million, and I'm doing 17.7 million today. Would you recommend such presidency and such a president to the people of Ghana as against what you have today? If it's about figures, it's about how to help people, it's about commitment towards people, please tell Ghanaians that indeed this is the man you want to come back to come and rule us.
Okay, Prof, a minute also, but then we can move to the debate proposed by the majority.
Yeah, just a brief is that I think he's following the same trend where they just mention figures to cover the people's eyes so that the truth is not revealed. I would want to challenge him on set to tell me when, during the tenure of His Excellency GHOne Dramani Mahama, that the dialysis unit shut down to outpatient for a period of 4 good months because they were owing 4 million cedis. They should give me a duration. We're all on the Kolebu campus. They should give me a duration. This happened under this government, right? Yeah. It happened. And that's what led to a dialysis crisis. When you say we're dying of kidney failure, people have always been dying of kidney failure. It's a terminal illness, so some people will die, some people will survive. But dialysis was accessible.
How many did you support?
Dialysis was accessible.
One single
patient. Did we ever have a crisis like this where the center had to shut down?
You couldn't support a single soul.
Did we ever have a crisis like this where
people
the center have to shut down?
The young ones
then he talked about investing in a confirm when people were dying.
Exactly.
Should we even compare? Look at what this government has done. You have somebody who came telling us he's an economic messiah, took the city from 4 point something to today. What is it? And this is the man who went to do a public lecture at the Central University, told the whole world he had all the wisdom on how to arrest the city.
What has happened? Mr. Mohammed will do better.
Wait. This man who has lost all credibility is the one telling us that we should bring him back. They came to us that they were taking away about 15 or so Newsan taxes. When they finish, they take one with the right hand and bring back more with the left hand.
No, we have to move to our next topic.
Wait.
We have to move to our next
topic. I think he will. Let me just wrap up.
Please allow him. Yeah.
Let me just wrap up. They did that and brought back several taxes. Today, we are the only country in the world paying COVID levy. Right? They had an opportunity to take away this tax. In this budget, they never did. You defer payment, and like Bernard said, and come and sit here and tell us because you have deferred payment and your expenditure has gone down, we should clap for you. And sometimes when they compare the data for His Excellency GHOne Dramani Mohammed's time to their present data, it's laughable. What was the population of Ghana when Mahama was in power. What is the population of Ghana today?
Okay.
And so if you give us nominal figures and make such statement, but in terms of economic indicators,
in
no,
that
the
small
truth
population,
is that
they couldn't support a single dialysis patient.
The truth is that our economy was on its way to the ICU before even COVID. Everybody could predict. They were churning out lies, they were covering, they were reporting and under-reporting some figures, taking them out of the expenditure bucket and under-reporting. Our finance people complained and no one listened. When COVID hit, did COVID have what we call in medical terms skip lesions? Did it select some countries and leave some countries? In Ghana here, COVID came. Our neighboring countries, they had COVID. Is the impact the same there? Those who had a resilient economy, look at how they were able to withstand the shocks.
Okay.
But our economy just went down,
including Kenya,
and we owed everybody, and we cannot pay.
Including Kenya.
This government has taken us more than
Dr. Bayo
30
has
years
not been
back.
able to tell why
And
to
so,
vote for Mr. Mahama.
Okay.
He is the trusted hand. And I've said that several times. I think he's not allowing me to speak. And that is not fair.
You are interjecting your
That is
lecture
not
when he's
fair.
teaching.
Because if you are talking about the reason why we should vote for Mr. Mahama, I can tell you loads. He is the most trusted person we can have. You have somebody, when he says A, he does A. This is someone you put smeared with all sorts of rumors and scandals.
We did.
7 years after, not a single one has been proven. Tell him today they should show us one of the hotels that Mahama has in Dubai.
That confirm is not proven.
They said all this about
the tree
Mr.
planting
Mahama.
is not
And
proven.
now this man, who has done more tree planting than you? Where are the trees you have
planting.
done? What you've been doing?
I can show you
where are they?
from Shiashi.
Okay, gentlemen.
Just one example. I can show Dr. Bayo from Shiashi to Legon.
No.
All the trees you see in between the roads, the
across the
pavement,
stretch.
it's all part of the Green Ghana Day.
So
show me one tree. One tree you built. One tree
you planted.
You planted.
Okay,
one tree.
okay.
I can show you one
forest.
One
Trees.
forest.
I can show you
and
forest.
show me one. I confirm that's alive today from your investment.
We'll have to move to our next
including
topic.
one dialysis patient they supported with all that he said. One dialysis patient.
All right, granted. Let's move to our next topic shortly.
How is that possible?
Come again.
They have all taken a bite.
You didn't indicate that you wanted to take a bite.
Must I?
Yes,
Or
he indicated.
because I've been quiet.
Yes, you have
So
been.
it means that you want me to be interjecting so that you know that.
No. He indicated that when I was done with Doc, he
But I
raised.
have. You saw that he took issues with me.
Okay, so
saying
please,
that
I have just a minute for you to rebut. Then we can move to our next topic. We're out of time.
certainly for his education, Libya under Gaddafi didn't owe anybody in the world. And so there was a country, or there are countries in the world that don't owe. And you know what Libya did in order to get to that state. That is a desert country, is considered a poor country. Their resources were simply being taken by the Europeans and the Americans and the Asians. And when he came, all he did was to do economic restructuring, giving control of the economy to the Libyan people. In the end, Libya was the most wealthiest country that supported African renaissance and ensured that today you can communicate within Africa without your call going through Paris or going through London. That alone is to tell you that, look, if you are determined to do it, you will do it. So don't tell me that there's no country in the world that doesn't owe. In any case, when you say that the United States of America owe, who do they owe? Have you ever seen that the United States of America has gone seeking bilateral debt forgiveness? Have you ever seen that the United Kingdom has gone to seek international external debt forgiveness? Have you ever seen that they have gone to the IMF or World Bank to go and seek international loans and support? So, I mean, they can have some owings, but it is not the kind of owings that you have that has totally dissipated your economy.
Okay.
The third important thing is this, and I feel very passionate about this. Let our parties know that the people of the North cannot be taken for a ride. Yeah. The Savannah Accelerated Development Authority was created to deal with the peculiar development poverty challenges that our people faced. Somehow, some people took advantage of it and mismanaged. There was a guinea fowl project, and at the end, when we wanted to account for the guinea fowls, those individuals that were responsible gave a report that the guinea fowls had migrated to Burkina Faso. That was an insult. The Savannah Accelerated Development Authority was realigned into the Northern Development Authority. And the Northern Development Authority started particularly with inputs and other support for our local farmers. What we call aboboya, the tricycles, excavators, motorbikes, and what have you, got lost from the supervision of the deputies and then the CEO.
Okay.
The report is there. How much is one tricycle compared with
a guinea fowl?
With 500 guinea fowls.
And
we sit down. Can I make my point?
Please,
no, let them allow me to.
Can our doctors allow the chief?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, what an insult to tell me that government uses resources to go and buy lots of tricycles and other implements to support our farmers. Those things are missing. All we have done is to relieve the chief executive and his deputies. And we are here talking about guinea fowls. Yes, it is a sin for guinea fowls not to be found. But it cannot be anything of substance. In fact, if that one is a sin, this one is a devilish sin. Because you can compare the number of tricycles that got lost, and then you take the cost of one tricycle compared with how many guinea fowls you can buy. And we sit on sets, and we are here celebrating that some guinea fowls were lost. I am pained that the people of the North could go through something that was meant for our development. But don't tell us that guinea fowl getting missing is better than, is worse than what we call it, tricycles and other farm equipment that are missing.
I've not compared the two.
I
cited a specific example.
Unfortunately, we are out of
that
time.
Indeed, Mr. Mahama chose to invest in guinea fowls instead of dialysis
All
patients.
right, so let's move to our next topic. Yesterday, the majority leader, Alexander Kwame challenged former President Mahama to a debate. The minority says, well, Dr. Bawumia cannot compare himself to former President Mahama because he is the chairman of the economic management team. So if he wants to debate on the economy, he should rather debate the likes of Adongo and Ampem, Nyako and the rest. Let's hear from the majority leader, Alexander Kwame.
You people too like controversy.
We do apologize. We'll play that video for you subsequently in other belts. But yesterday, there was a lot of banter between the majority and the minority in Parliament on the proposed debate by the majority. Let me start with you, Chief, since you ended.
Honestly speaking, what does the debates in this country do? Probably the best it does is to reduce the tension, to allow for the various aspirants to be seen holding each other's hands, sending a signal that, yes, we are in competition, but we are in competition for the same goal. And therefore, citizens don't go up in arms, don't throw stones at each other, don't kill each other, don't insult, don't smear your relationship. I think that is the major symbolism of the debates that we have had in this country. And over the years, some have chosen at what point in time to participate in the debate and not to participate in the debate. And if you take a critical look, at some point in time, the PNC had issues with the organizers of the debate, that is the Institute of Economic Affairs. Because after the first round of debate in the 2012 elections, and our presidential candidate called for a shift in the date because he was unwell, they called the bluff for our presidential candidate and said that they have set the stage and they are doing preparations for a three-tie presidential debate. I had to come out to challenge the IEA that the decision to do the debate was not even by the presidential candidates, by the parties. And that our parties that were part of the platform in with the IEA, we decided that we were going to commit our presidential candidates. And so you don't go and say that you have taken the presidential candidate off without recourse to the political parties. And at the time, it was also Afriye, Asedun Ketia, and Ivor Greenstreet and myself, who were general secretaries. And when the media decided to do a follow-up, all of us said that, look, if you want to have a problem, or if you have a problem with a presidential candidate, get back to the party. You don't just go ahead and do. And from that day, we chose that we will not allow a husband and a wife outfit to be doing presidential debates in this country. And so you will see that subsequent debates were either organized by the NCCE or the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, or some state institution that we all can have a little confidence in. So this call by the Institute of Economic Affairs for a debate at this time is strange to me, because we had discredited them because we thought that they were skewing the debate in a certain format, and we rejected them. So I don't remember the IA doing the last presidential debate. So how come that all of a sudden they are the ones now trying to champion it when NCC is there, when the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, the giant of our nation's media houses, is still around? So if they were the ones putting, and I know that GBC, for instance, has offered their rollout and what they have to do. So if they are putting it, we can go to the state. And then in any case, you don't just come and stand on the street and start talking about presidential or parliamentary debates. You go to talk to the parties and get the buy-in of the political parties before you can come and make public means out of it. It is not just about me sitting there and saying that I'm going to do a debate. When my political party say that, no, we don't want to commit to the debate, what do? I am a candidate sponsored by the political party. And so it is the leadership of the party that normally will commit their presidential candidate to it. And so, and the party agreed, then they come and talk to you. And even in some instances when the party has agreed, President Akufo-Addo said he will not debate. And because President Akufo-Addo said he will not debate, his vice president did not debate. In some other instances, President Rawlings declined the debate. And so, declining the debate, because we have not made it part of our constitutional processes, that presidential candidates must subject themselves to debate, I don't see the hula baloo around this topic. And it appears that it's all of a sudden, because I will recall that this call for a debate was done initially by John Mahama. And I said, that was my response. I said, John Mahama, this debate, don't think that it's going to be between you and your kid brother Bawumia. In fact, another kid brother is coming. But whether the two of you can survive that debate. So you should be careful what you are calling for. That's you. Oh, yes. Because you should be careful what you are calling for, because in that debate, it's not going to be easy for you or easy for the it is possible man. So you have to be careful, because once I step foot as the presidential candidate of my party and the next president, and I come to that debate, you know that is going to be tough. Then all of a sudden, the vice president goes to some places and probably is challenged by his record, because they are talking about the things that he has not done, what have you, and then he says that let's do a debate. Then all of a sudden, that has become the mantra of the majority leader. Yesterday, after his talk, saying that they should commit to their presidential candidate, the response he got, unfortunately, I didn't see whether he got another opportunity to rebut, but I could see his posture, that it was like he got an uppercut. They give you like this. And then the man just fell flat. So even if you show the video, you see that he was just sitting down belly like that. Lem. But that is what you called for. It's a debate. So they debated him first in the floor of Parliament to let you know what you are going to get. That you are talking about the head of economic management team. No. He should come and debate the head of the ranking member or his deputy in Parliament. And so the equal of your presidential candidate is the deputy ranking member of finance. And who is that? Adongo. Do you think that Bawumia would be able to debate Adongo?
Why not?
Adongo was me, 1 year ahead of me in Tamale Secondary School. And you see that boy, he's not like he's a bookworm. That is one thing I know. He's simply brainy. Because we used to play football, and he's a very good footballer. He does everything that you do, extracurricular activity. And from school, from Zamsi Secondary, he was the best in West Africa, ordinary level. At the sixth form level in West Africa, he was the best.
Does that make somebody best in economy?
Can I make the point? At the university, go and check. Look, on record, he chatted. And I'm saying that he's not like a bookworm, somebody who is just by the book. He is a social, he's an outgoing person. So me, I have known him for a long time. And at one point in time, when my name was even being considered for appointment somewhere, I went to the appointing authority and said, look, this man, I know him as my senior, and I can tell you that he can do a better job. But of course, they underestimated him until now. When you listen to Adongo speak, then you know that he doesn't talk rhetoric. He talks what is around. And so I think that, look, I think that debates add very little to the fortunes or otherwise of presidential candidates.
Okay.
Dr. Ezekiel sitting here is decided. If we go for a debate and I even win the debate, you will not change to come and vote for me, even though I will give you an appointment in my government. Professor Beyo will not change. I was with him at the University of Cape Coast. He admits that I will be a better president, but he still will go and join the NDC to compete for them.
I never said.
Do you understand? So those things are well defined. So it is not the debate that I will win that will let any one of you come and say you are changing. So honestly speaking, we want to create hot air, just the opportunity for us to hold hands. Then you see that, no, the presidential candidate say, look, we are for peace, we are not for war, we are for one Ghana.
Prof.
Yeah, so I think the call is intriguing, and it's intriguing because, first of all, I heard the IEA call. In fact, before I would see the official communication from the IEA, I heard the vice president on one of the campaign platforms say, I'm challenging Mohammed to a debate and on the economy. And at the time he was making this call, His Excellency GHOne Mahama had opened up to the media. He called the media, sat down with them, over 3 hours of grilling. The people got every information they wanted from him. You would never get that in any debate. Because in the debate, questions are very limited opportunity to talk and rebut. And especially if you don't even have a neutral platform, then the debate is even useless because it can be skewed in any way. But this was not any preformed questions. They didn't select any particular kind of media. You could see the collection of media. You are in the media yourself. And you realize that that was a very open session that he had with the media. There's no better debate than that. So somebody who was able to do that on his own volition, on his own initiative, should tell you that he's not scared of debates. But the question is, who are you debating? And when I heard also the call from the majority leader yesterday that it is the only way to give Ghanaians the opportunity to assess the two candidates and make a choice from, I asked myself, really? Is that the only way? The two people seeking to govern this country, the two leading people seeking to govern. Yeah, my brother is part. But the leading people, and for me, the next president of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has governed this country before. People have an opportunity to assess his work before and what he says he will do again. The other person seeking from the Dr. Ezekiel's group, what has he been? He's currently the sitting vice president, one who was marketed to us as an economic whiskey, who himself drifted away and now says he's a digitalization specialist. We don't know now, he's now a mobile phone dealer. From all of that, this is the person who's also seeking to lead us. All right, people can compare. It's so easy. And if you really want an opportunity to interrogate their thinking, their thought process, I think what His Excellency did is the best. If Bawumia really wants a debate, and if Afenyo Markins want a debate, then we will throw back what Bawumia said to Mahama in 2016. He says that Mahama should go and debate the farmers, the traders, the drivers who are being harassed on the road, the people who, traders who are struggling with the cedi and the cedi to dollar exchange rate. He should go and debate those people. He should go and debate the ordinary people in the streets. I think if there is anybody that the people of Ghana want answers from today, it's Bawumia. he should have availed himself to that kind of exercise like what Mohammed did. Not some skewed something where somebody will give some predetermined questions, maybe even leak questions to some people, and you come and sit there and talk to gain what kind of favor. Bawumia has a credibility that is gone. Bawumia is going down. He's looking for an opportunity to equal himself. And like with somebody with an impeccable pedigree, which is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And like one of our seniors said in Parliament, I don't think Mahama will be doing Bawumia a very huge favor if he allows himself to debate with him. I don't know the official position of our party yet on this. We've had some individual communications coming. But it would be a big favor to do Bawumia a debate. Because I don't think Bawumia is worth a debate with Mahama. Because, I'm coming, let me just wrap up. Because, one, this man is not credible. And if you are debating someone who doesn't play by the ethics of the game, my dear, it's like going to a boxing ring, and when you know that you will follow the ethics of the game, they say don't give a blow below the belt, you won't do it. Don't use your foot, you will not do that. But the other person doesn't mind and can use it. If you are going to such a battle with such a person, it's a very dangerous battle. This is someone who doesn't have any regard for ethics, doesn't have any regard for truth, can say this today and tomorrow say no. He says he has jailed this dollar, is out, don't know when he broke jail, and he doesn't say anything about it. He gave us several solutions. You are telling that you are coming to reduce the number of ministers. You are in government, you have an opportunity to reduce the ministers. When Mahama mentioned that he's bringing the ministers down to 60, you quickly mentioned that you do it to 50. You still have 1 whole year. Nothing has happened about it. We talk about tax. You said when you come, you bring a flat rate at the port. You do this, you do this. You had a mid-year budget, opportunity to do that. You are still head of the economic management. Cambe event casts their shadows. At least do something for us to see. So on the basis of all of this, I would say that Bawumia should do like His Excellency has done, open himself up. But I do not know what the final position of our party is, but it will be a big favor to debate someone like Bawumia and to debate someone who has no credibility, who can lie. I don't think it's a very safe thing.
Doc.
Anytime Prof talks about credibility, I wonder if we are in the same country. Are we talking about an individual who said he will not commit 2 billion Ghana cedi into free SHS, and later, during his monologue, tell us he's the originator of free SHS? Are we talking about Mr. Mahama, who claimed the NDC started NHIS from Nkranza and Damongo when it wasn't true? Are we talking about the man who said he would cancel nursing training allowance and later made a U-turn to say I'll continue? Are we talking about the party led by Mr. Mahama, who sponsored over 40 adverts against free SHS and turned around to own it? The skewness in any of the engagement is what happened when the media met Mr. Mahama. That he had the confidence to tell everyone gathered that he started free SHS. He had the confidence to tell everyone gathered that NHIS was the brainchild of the NDC. And you could see on the faces of the journalists present. You could tell. The videos are there. Samson Ladi, Ayinene, and then the rest. You could tell from their faces. Indeed, it is very obvious that the NDC is running away from the debate. And I maintain that Dr. Bawumia is very charitable. You believe things are sport. Is that not what they tell us? You say everything is on a downward hill. That's what you keep telling us. The man is saying that I'm availing myself. Come and put it to me in front of everyone. Come and challenge me. Don't go and hide somewhere, do a monologue, and lie to Ghanaians that you introduced NHIS. Is that the integrity? Lie to Ghanaians that you own free SHS. Is that the integrity? Lie to Ghanaians that you own UGMC. Is that the integrity? Lie to Ghanaians that you own the Rich Hospital. Is that the integrity? The integrity is the Ford that was given to him. The integrity is the Airbus issues around him. The integrity is the Majaro issue that's in the UK House of Commons. Dr. Bawumia is very charitable. He's asking you to come. You claim things are sport. So come and put it to me. He's giving you a very unique opportunity to come and put it in my face. Whatever you believe, whatever you took, and where you sent the country under you, come and tell me how you believe you've done better. Don't hide behind the cloth inside your house and be shouting, oh, yeah, Bema Brianko. And when I tell you, come out and let's fight, you tell me I should rather go and fight those who are saying, no, please don't fight. And if you look at the communique by the minority, they are telling Mr. Mohammed to go and debate. The spokesperson came out that he is not going to be part of any IEA debate. IEA came out to say, no, I've not invited anyone. I only came out to express the view that I'm considering organizing a debate. I've not approached any party. I've not approached any candidate until I'm ready to approach the parties and the candidates. But the NDC went ahead of themselves and released a communique. And yet your minority is saying that we are not against debate. In fact, they've seen Dr. Bawumia to be so brainy, so intelligent, that of all the accolades Mr. Mona has listed about Honorable Adongo, they still believe he's not enough. They needed extra 6 potential human beings to be added to all the accolades and the brains of Mr. Adongo, as Honorable Mona has made that understood. To debate one person. 7 strong men to debate one person. It shows how much the NDC reveres Dr. Bawumia. That they can't even find a single soul in the party to say we are going boot for boot against Dr. Bawumia. And you know what? My former communications director, Honorable Yababian Samoa, said something very remarkable prior to the 2020 elections. That the main Achilles heel of the NDC is that they can't look within the party, the rank and file, from the biggest person to the least person in the party, and get a single person that can match Dr. Bawumia. And it's evident today that they believe Mr. Mohammed alone is not enough. Reason why they are shielding him. They believe the vice president is even not enough, because Dr. Bawumia is on record as vice president in 2020 to have demanded a debate with Mr. Mohammed. Ovosukwachi, Felix, told him that he's not a president. He should seek the mandate of his party before demanding for a debate with Mr. Mohammed. It clearly shows that even with the running mate level, Dr. Bawumia was willing to debate the flag bearer. So Mr. Mohammed is not enough in the NDC. Prof. Nana Opoku-Agyeman, after all the professorship, it's not enough. The two of them put together, it's not enough. And after all the accolades and the academic credentials and the economic credentials Mr. Mona has listed about Mr. Adongo, he is still not enough. They needed extra 6 strong men to be added to Mr. Adongo to debate a single person. What does it tell you? First of all, the NDC is not against the debate in principle, because their parliament or parliamentarians believe that Dr. Bawumia should be debated, except they can't bring their flag bearer because they know he can't debate Dr. Bawumia. So all the hula balu going around, all the commentaries going around, from the communique by Madam Judbawa Motari and everything going around, including what Dr. Prof. Beyo has said on this platform, points to a single fact. Mr. Mahama will not debate Dr. Bawumia. He's so scared of Dr. Bawumia. He can't stand on a platform any day, any time to debate Dr. Bawumia. It's the reason why they are rather punching the IE to be skewed. But on the same platform that had Mr. Adodanko Akufo-Addo, His Excellency, then the candidate, and His Excellency John Mahama as president then, was Prof. Nana Opoku-Agyeman as part of the moderators. Was she leaking questions to Mr. Mahama then? So clearly, it is what we say in Akan.
Why are you
It is what we say in Akan. So it is what we say. It is what we say in Akan. That let me finish, please. That's
I am giving you enough time. He
had the opportunity time. Come and explain to Ghanaians why you believe Nkokobu and Kete is better than the tax reforms. Come and explain to Ghanaians why you believe remarking working papers is better than the Mineral Development Fund. He has every opportunity.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much.
But he's scared.
Unfortunately, we're out of time.
And the NDC doesn't have anyone credible to Bawumia. They rather believe they need the race of 7 strong parliamentarians to debate a single person.
He has just made a few things that
are very, very happy
on the whether Mohammed
by the
never
call
said
of
that 7
individuals to debate a single person.
It is on record that Akufo-Addo commended Mohammed for starting the progressively free SHS. And we have evidence of that payment in the budget, and it's there. All right? The NHIS Act, when was it passed? If he's not informed, he should go and check 2012. who was the president of Ghana in 2012. And when we started, we started, when we started the mutual insurance schemes, that was not yet national. You came, made it national. And you say that there. But look,
okay, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Dr. Ezekiel Ejekumo-Bing is a member for the NPP Communications team. Professor Titus Bayu is the NDC parliamentary candidate for Lambusi, and Bernard Mona is flag bearer aspirant for the PNC. Well, the three parties have told you how they are going to save the nation. Let me tell you how you can save a life. Now, Ares Properties, in collaboration with the Ghana Blood Bank, is inviting you to blood donation exercise. The exercise will take place on Friday, July 26, 2024, from 9 a.m. through till 4 p.m. Venue is here at the Platinum Place. It's on the 4th Terrace. Please come and donate a pint of blood to save a life. It could save your life or somebody that you love. We are back after this break. Stay tuned in. Welcome back to the show. It's now time for my guest this morning, Ida Alote Brown, a special needs educator, Mission Pediatrics, and Professor Mahmudu Abunga Akurugu. He is here with Ida. Good morning to you. They are from GHOne Medical Outreach. Good morning, lady and gentlemen. We're expecting one more person to join us, but we can start a conversation. Let's start with what is GHOne Medical Outreach Program? Why are you going north? Prof.
Okay, good morning and good morning to your viewers. GHOne Medical Program is an initiative by a couple that identified the need for creating opportunities to allow people up north to also have access to expert and professional services to support them raise their children with special needs, neurodevelopmental challenges. And so we started it last year in collaboration with the Miller Institute for Transdisciplinary Research, Mission Pediatrics, Clicks Africa, and then Rise Ghana. And the idea is that the whole of the North, for example, children with speech problems, we have only one speech therapist for all the 5 northern regions. One speech therapist at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. So it means that if you are in Boga, you are in Boku, you are in Wa, and your child has delayed speech or some problems with the speech, you have no way of getting expert opinion or expert advice on that, except or unless you travel to Tamale. And if you travel to Tamale and that person probably has traveled or is somewhere to, you have no way. So because of that, we decided that why don't we work with our partners like Mission Pediatrics to create an opportunity up north where we can bring a multidisciplinary team of people who are specialized in handling special needs children to come over a number of days to provide that kind of professional advice or services to these people. And so we started last year and it was a hit. They were able to attend to over 250 special needs children and their caregivers. And we thought that it's important to continue, and we're doing it this year again.
Ida, you specialize in neurodevelopment, right? Speech.
My specialty is actually in special education.
Special education.
The educational aspect of the child.
The special. Oh, okay. Okay, but going around the north, what are some of the things that you have uncovered?
So last year I didn't join the team, but this year I am going. Last year, there were a lot of things that were discovered. Children who had physiotherapy issues, children who had issues with their speech, children who had issues with behavior, and a whole lot. There are many. So this year, the team has expanded.
Okay.
Unlike last year, where it was limited. Well, it was the first time. We didn't really know what was going to happen. But this year, as a result of the things that was seen, they were seen over there, we decided that we are going to expand our services. We're going to send lots of therapists up there. Whoever can support, whoever can join the race, please come on board as we all go and help out.
You say as a result of what was seen. What did you see?
a lot of things were seen. A lot of neurodevelopmental issues were seen. And that is one of the things, that was like the driving force or the main thing that made us decide to expand our service or the clientele that we're sending over there. We realized that there were people there who had issues, varying needs. Our physiotherapists, for instance, had to teach people to use things around them. Example, they used pipes, the normal PVC pipes, to teach kids how to hold, how to try walking. They even tried with the sandbags and all that. The speech therapist also taught the parents how to support their wards in the house. Since there are issues there, we can't always be there or we aren't there the whole year round. But what are some practical things that can be done to support the learners or the students or the children that we have up there? These were the things that we were taught.
Now, Doc, Prof, okay. What is the impact of neurodevelopment issues on children, on parents, on communities up north?
Good. The impact is very enormous. You are talking about children that have challenges concentrating, attention deficiency, and they are attending the same school as normal children. And you can imagine that such a child would definitely have challenges in the classroom. And so that child grows up or is seen as an idiot, excuse my words, is seen as a stupid child, in quotes. And so the child grows up as an adult thinking that he or she cannot do anything. I mean, he can't learn anything and all the rest of that. But if we are able to identify early on that this child has this particular problem, there's a way to support the child to be able to learn and cope in class and can even grow to become, I mean, we have some of the engineers, some of the what do you call it, the ICT gurus with some of these challenges. But because they grew up in an environment that they were diagnosed early enough and interventions are put in place.
So that is a critical issue, early diagnosis.
Yeah, early diagnosis, because early intervention is key in handling some of these matters. And so once a child has that challenge, again, like children, we had a lot of children who could not walk and those who could not talk. It means that the whole family is their socioeconomic progress is also impeded. For example, one family, they have 4 children, and all 4 children, none of them can walk. Where will the mother put them and go to work? Where will the father, and the father has run away. So you see, the whole family is disintegrated just because of that. What kind of support can we give them to be able to live with the condition? Because some of the conditions are not treatable. Some of the conditions cannot be cured. But there is a way that you can manage to live with it and live a meaningful life. So the impact of, children with social neurodevelopmental challenges is very huge on the family, on the individual parents, and then on the society. Because at the end of the day, everybody is affected in one way or the other. And the rate at which is more or less a neglected area, because even the hospitals, you go to the hospitals, they don't have the experts in that area. It's the general practitioners. And a child after 12 months is not able to utter sensible words or sounds. And you go to the hospital, and because it's not their area of expertise, it's fine. It will be okay. It's just a matter of time. The child will be fine. But that stage is the best stage to intervene if the child was going to have a speak problem, right? But because the lack of expertise to diagnose and to intervene, then the situation gets worse. And once the child passes that stage, it becomes difficult to intervene. Even if you intervene, it's not going to be that effective.
At what stage does it become difficult to intervene?
Let me give it to the expert.
I mean, you do a lot of education when it comes to special needs. At what stage can a parent say, well, at this point, I've thrown my hands in despair? Or from where you sit, is every stage manageable?
I feel every stage is crucial. Crucial in what sense? from birth, there are developmental milestones that are clearly written. It's all over for us. Some parents have no idea of it. However, being a mom, even if you're a first-time mom, you will tend to feel when there's something going wrong. If your child is not feeding properly, you would know it. If your child has an issue, you would know it. So then, the very moment you realize or had that feeling that, no, I think there is something wrong with my child, please send the child to the hospital to be catered for. Send the child to the appropriate quarters so that they are given the right diagnosis. When you realize there's something wrong and you still have that feeling and someone tells you, there's nothing wrong, do not sit. Please go. Make sure that you get the appropriate person to help you. And when they help you, they would be able to tell you that you can do this, you can do that, you can do that to support your child. Whatever form of intervention or therapy that is needed to be given is very important. We always say that early intervention is crucial. So I would say that no matter the stage within which you realize the child has an issue, please send that child for help.
How prevalent is neurodevelopment issue in Ghana?
It's actually underdiagnosed. We have lots of parents. We even go to school with lots of our mates and all that.
And
as
I think
we were
I was telling
earlier.
you before we came on air, yeah.
Exactly, as we were discussing earlier. We have our friends that we've been with in school. We've had our mates with us. We've had people in the community. We've had things that we see and we sense, no, I think there's a problem here. Or I think this child is not behaving well as a child should do. That very moment you realize, I think there's something wrong, please.
There's obviously something wrong.
Yes, alert whoever you need to alert so that that child gets the necessary help.
You mentioned a critical area, attention deficiency. When do parents know that their children are attention deficient?
So in class, I always say that kids love to be kids, which is good. And as kids, they love to play. They would want to run around, do all sorts of things. There are things that are regular with every child. However, you may see certain signs of this child is, I wouldn't say not behaving, but I would say that the child is doing something to an extremity. If you realize your child is probably not even sitting still, the child is not able to do things the way the child is supposed to do. The child is not paying attention. You may even be talking to the child and this child is running around. You would want to even share something for a second.
And these are the children we call them assertive, very often, yeah.
You would want to
or
even share.
hyperactive.
Yeah.
You would. I don't want to use the medical terms and all that because if a child hasn't been diagnosed, let's not go further putting labels on that child. It's actually best to get the help and then from there we can know what to do to support that child. So if there's excessive inattentiveness, we realize that the child keeps running around, the child keeps doing things that are not within the normal things, or the slightest thing, oh, could you sit here? And could you, next second, it's not even seated. As we came in here, you see we all seated, we're all chatting and all that. But this is one that keeps running around. This is one that would move up and down, would go here, go there. Not even able to get that communication, that 1 minute to even interact with that child. Please go for help.
How does GHOne initiative come in to support people like that? Prof.
Yeah, so again, as I said, we have a foundation. Myself and my wife, out of pocket, are supporting this process. And the foundation is a Medic Smile Hub Foundation. And the way we come in to support is making the experts available at where there are no experts to provide the professional advice, assessment and diagnosis and follow-up support. Since last year, we have had some follow-ups. In fact, the only special school in the Bolgatanga municipality, we went there, we were able to provide even modern facilities, like toilet facilities for the school children. We refurbished their classroom, provided by the benevolence of one other person. We were able to procure a polytank to store water so that they can continuously make use of the toilet facility and all that. So that is how we come into support. We are hoping that we'll be able to expand and possibly provide more support to parents, not after after the experts have left, because all of them about 13 of them or 14 coming to Bolga.
Okay, when is this?
That's from the 30th to the 2nd of August, 30th of this month. That's just next week, Tuesday, to Friday. They will be in Bolga, and they are flying, coming up north at no cost, pro bono. They are doing pro bono service, and we appeal for corporate Ghana and individuals who are interested in supporting to support us.
What is your target from 30th? What is your target?
Our target is to reach out to at least 300 caregivers and children with neurodevelopmental challenges. And we want to build capacity. It's very important to teach the caregivers, the mothers and the fathers, how to live with these children and to support them. And even early identification, as we were saying, if the child, this attention deficiency we are talking about, there are things that you expect the child to be attracted to. And so when a child is, say, 6 months and the child is not paying attention to things that should attract the child, it's a signal that something may be wrong. And so the experts will be teaching them how to identify if your child has a challenge or is likely to develop a challenge, and then building capacity, as he said, using local materials like the PVC pipes, the sandbags to support children with such needs to be able to live at least some meaningful life, and all the rest of that. So beyond that, then we do the assessment, the diagnosis assessment, and then interventions possibly. And so it's going to be a whole package that we are going to be delivering.
You are also on board. You'll be given special education to the children with special needs. Is it just children with special needs or adults as well?
We're actually targeting the kids, but we need the parents. So our main target is to support the learner. But how do we support the learner? The parents. So we are focusing on the parents by helping them to identify things that they need to identify. We're also helping them to support them, even if they go to school and they are back home. The child spends a lot of time with the parents in the house. So then what are some practical things that you can do to assist your ward in the house? What are some things that you can see around you in terms of education that you can even use to teach your child? Lots of times we tend to say that A for apple. But then what are the other things that the child knows in the house that A can rather stand for instead of the apple that we always say? These are some things that will be helping the parents to get to learn.
What will be the end game eventually?
The end game is to be able to assist them to support their kids get the best form of education. That is from my perspective. But I know the speech therapists, the occupational therapists, and then all other therapists have their individual targets of being able to assist the parents, support their wards in their communities.
Okay. Thank you for coming, and we wish you all the best. So that's Ida Lottie-Brown. She's special needs educator, Mission Pediatrics, and Professor Mamodo Abunga Akurugu with the Go North Medical Outreach Program. That's it for Health Alert. We are back shortly. Welcome back to the show. This is still GH Today here on GHOne TV. My name is Lily Mohammed. Now, in the last couple of years, we have seen insurgency grow across West Africa and the Sahel region. And a number of analysts have predicted a spillover into our dear country, Ghana. How do we curb this? How do we ensure that this does not fester? Well, there's an initiative that will help this. The National Catholic Secretariat, in collaboration with the Ghana Journalists Association, has come up with an initiative called the Sahel Peace Initiative. This is aimed at combating the threats of jihadists at Ghana's borders and the regions across the West Africa. My guest this morning will help us understand what this initiative is about and how we can curb insurgency and insecurity across the region and, by extension, Ghana. Reverend Father Michael Kweku is Director of the Governance, Justice and Peace National Catholic Secretariat. Richard Akurugu is Executive Director for Caritas Ghana, and Daniel Mumuni is Country Representative for Catholic Relief Services, CRS Ghana. Good morning, gentlemen. Good to have all of you here.
Thank you.
I mean, for some of us who come from the north and from a region where there's always insecurity issues, it is, when we talk about peace, it's very, very paramount to us. So for an initiative like this, why? Let me start with you.
Yeah, so thank you very much. So I think the why is quite obvious from what you've just described. But if you look across the sub-region, all across we're seeing violent extremism. Some countries like Burkina Faso are lost to the insurgents. Conservative estimates shows over 80% of Burkina Faso is run by the insurgents.
Yeah.
So that that has an effect on people's livelihoods, on peace and security, and with the threat of the spillover. And just recently, the Fusion Center, which is from the National Security, estimate that this threat is actually increasing. So, for example, in the first quarter of this year alone, we've had about 3,200 attacks within the region. Over 1,200 people have already lost their lives. And this is just the first quarter. It is an increase of more than 130% in terms of the attacks from last year, and more than 14% of 14% increase in those who have lost their lives. So, yeah, the threat is real. And, you know, for Ghana, we are also seeing the, you know, spillover effects gradually trickling, especially when it comes to human security. So we're seeing refugees coming into Ghana, displaced persons, however you want to define them, from Burkina Faso. But we are also seeing the possibilities. This is not coming from us, it's coming from national security, that there is the possibility of a threat to Ghana. And so the Sahel Peace Initiative is an initiative that was launched by the Catholic Church.
Okay.
About, in 2019, there was a convening to look at how we can mobilize action to combat this threat. And that culminated in this program, implemented in Ghana, Burkina Faso, Niger, Cote d'Ivoire, and Mali, where the threat is great. And there are twofold. There's the preventive part, which is what we're doing in Ghana, and there's the combating part. So in a place like Burkina Faso, you're combating it, and in Ghana, we're preventing. So it is more mobilizing church action, but in an interreligious manner. So we have strategies that are interreligious, intergenerational. And, you know, when you think about peace and security, you're normally looking at issues, you know, people think about military action, you know, the role of the security forces, and that's where you may consider the kinetic. There are other non-kinetic, soft aspects that we need to be placing emphasis on. So when you talk about radicalization, it's usually about people being influenced. And people are easily influenced when they don't have the resilience. Maybe their needs are being fulfilled in other respects. So this program is looking holistically at how we can mobilize stakeholder action led by the church to see how we can combat the threat of violent extremism in Ghana and in the other four countries that we're working in. In Ghana to prevent, and in those countries to combat. And CRS's role is basically working in partnership with, we are providing the resources, the funding for these activities to be held. Yeah.
Now, Father, since he mentioned the role of the church, let me ask you, what specific role will the church be playing? I mean, we have had the church for so many years, For regions like where I come from in Boko, we still have insecurity. We still wake up to moments of violence. In Tamale, we've seen it. In Techiman, we saw it in the 2020 elections. And a number of communities across the board. What is the role of the church?
Well, the role of the church is manifold. Because the church understands its mission from its divine master as the mother of humanity, and therefore to care for everyone. So our constituents cut across religious boundaries or any other form of, categorization. So our concern, the church's concern, is for humanity as such. But the church's action shows itself mostly in the soft power relations, in how we use discourse, how we engage stakeholders, how the church's own action in helping the poor and the marginalized, how we engage fighting, factions, how we are able to use our institutions, as it were, to bring together conflicting parties. The church does this on both the local and then the national level. So the church is very concerned, moved by her social doctrine, which is basically based on the dignity of the human person as such, and working to make sure that everybody lives, because life is sacred, the church understands. So we are moved by this understanding, and we work not only on the policy level, but on the concrete level, dealing with people who live out all of this in daily lives.
Now, let me come to you. They say that, oh, well, we want to curb the issues of insurgency, jihadists, but for us, as we enter a major election, is it not largely dependent on internal processes, but rather on spillovers from insurgencies?
Yeah, that is true, that the threat is actually with us. If we take elections out, CRS conducted an analysis which informed the design of this Sahel Peace Initiative called Steps Towards Peace. And the study found out that the issues that were being exploited by the extremists in the Sahelian regions were real in Ghana and the other African countries. High unemployment rates, marginalization of minority groups and the rest. And all these are here which serve as pull factors for insurgents. They also serve as push factors for people who feel aggrieved. And it leads to radicalization. And even our political situation, Ghana has largely been peaceful. We have done peaceful transitions of power, but we've also had few incidences of violence marring our elections. In the previous election, we had a number of people losing their lives. And the relatives of these people who are affiliated to them, will feel pain, aggrieved, and you never know what they want to do to retaliate.
Absolutely.
This is the reason why, as a country, beyond the external factors, we need to also work at ensuring that we all live in a harmonious environment where we understand ourselves. Even when there are disagreements, we have peaceful means and ways of resolving them and not allowing others exploiting them to destabilize our country.
Since you mentioned the issues that happened in the previous elections, 8 people died. That is of grave concern, shouldn't it?
It is indeed.
How do we address issues like this?
Well,
okay, Father, you want to take that?
Don't worry. I think that first and foremost, it is important to acknowledge that Ghana is the only country we have. And I think when we have that deeply ingrained in our psyche, then working towards peace doesn't become just a good thing or a nice thing. It becomes an imperative for the perpetuity of our country, but also for the environment that is necessary for any development. So how we do this, after informing ourselves, is to engage first and foremost in dialogue. We need to talk. People who are aggrieved ought to be able to have the opportunity to air what feelings they have. But also, it is important that all stakeholders come on board. That is why the church is collaborating with the Ministry of National Security, with GHOne, and with CRS to bring on board all necessary stakeholders. We're not talking about just at the policy level. We're talking about people who live this on a daily basis. So at this forum, for instance, we are bringing people from National Security, the National Peace Council, but we also bring in Kaya Yo and Kaya Ye on board. So it's a cross section of Ghana coming together to have a conversation about how we build peace and how we move together to form a cohesive society.
So okay, you want to talk?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add that it's also important for us to allow institutions to work.
Yes.
I think in past elections we've seen situations where there have been, private use of force and, in terms of those groups, vigilante groups and all of that. And so, I think the process has started in some of the by-elections. The role of the police was very strong in disbarring any, groups that are not sanctioned, that do not have legitimate power. But as Father said, that we all understand that, this is the only country we have, and that, peace can only be attained by ourselves. So, allowing institutions to work. And I know that the National Peace Council is also working actively around that, having peace pacts. And sometimes these violence are perpetrated at the community level. So how do we also sensitize and hold everybody accountable, regardless of which political color they wear, so that we understand that when it comes to our security, there's no politicization in any form. Yeah.
Okay, there's a program coming up,
Yes.
right? When is it?
It's happening on Tuesday and Wednesday. Yeah, and that is a national forum. Father and Richard will talk a bit about that. But essentially, what we're trying to do is, when we talk about peace and security, it is a multi-stakeholder endeavor. And so this event is more or less in twofold. One, to create awareness about the threat of violent extremism in Ghana, draw examples from neighboring countries, but also look at how we can, it's a call to action. How do we mobilize action? How do we create a community of practice? How do we pool resources together? Because there are also several initiatives that are ongoing. Yes, there is the security aspect of it where, yes, we need the security forces and agencies to do their work, but there's also the other part of the human security aspect. How do we build resilience at community level? So this is more an effort to put the pieces together and ensure that we're all speaking the same language, we have a common understanding, and mobilizing resources and action to move forward. But I'd have Father and Richard speak a bit more to it.
Right. Well, this two-day event to be held next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, the 30th and 31st of July, is one of the church's concrete efforts to augment what it believes is essentially the role of government and the whole of society, to keep society safe, to make sure that people find the conducive environment for development. So the church is not under any illusion that what it's doing is only to augment government effort. So this is to bring together all those who fight for peace, all those who desire a peaceful environment for development. But this is timely because we know we're coming up to elections, and we have seen, as Richard has articulated earlier, that there have been instances of violence and sadly the loss of life. So the idea here is to drive home the absolute need for peace and the inviolability and sacredness of human life, to protect it. And so everybody is a stakeholder It's not just only those who come to the table for conversation. The reason why this event will also be streamed live for those who cannot be there in person. So that is the church's desire and plan to make sure that we're able to create this human family where everybody has a space to flourish.
When is it? You said Tuesday and Wednesday. Where?
At the Accra International Conference Center.
Who can attend?
Sadly, for those who are attending in person, are those who have been invited.
Okay.
So about 200 of us are going to assemble there from national security, from government, from Peace Council, from GHOne, from all the institutions who work towards peace and social cohesion.
Are you expecting traditional rulers there?
Traditional rulers are there. As I said, Kayaye are there. We have youth groups, women groups, CSOs, political parties. So it's a carefully selected group of people in person to, if you want, make society as it stands, that everybody from the policy level to day to day.
Are you inviting the Electoral Commission?
The Electoral Commission is on board, police is on
board.
Because
I asked that because, you know, some of these political parties have raised concerns with the EC and the processes. Yeah. That's why I asked if you're inviting will all these issues be addressed?
Every one of these issues which border on social cohesion, on our security, and especially on a peaceful election on the table for conversation. And to add to this, the church in proposing this forum has already worked out with experts a 5-year security policy for this SPI, which is to bring on board various stakeholders to make sure that we are able to be intentional about our peace, because we believe that peace is not an accident. It is a conscious decision and a desire that we work towards.
What's your message to the public as we are inviting them? Well, if they cannot be there in person, because this one is strictly by invitation, those who will join online at the National SPI Forum.
Yeah, so building on what Father said, peace is something we all need to work towards. And we don't have any place apart from our Ghana. We are inviting all stakeholders to join us. Those who have been invited, we are urging them to participate actively. And those who cannot join us physically, we'll be sharing the link to the the online platforms for them to be able to join. In fact, we are going to make it possible for people who are joining online to have their say in the forum, where they can listen and then bring questions or contributions on board. And so we are encouraging everyone to come on board. We believe that by the end of this forum, we will come out with action points that all of us will need to begin to work towards. And hopefully, in the years coming, we'll gather again to assess what we have done and see whether we are making progress or not.
In the spirit of national cohesion, are you also going to draft points for the cohesion of the security agencies? Yesterday, we heard that there was a clash between some immigration and customs people at the Puziga border. Is that something that is also on the table critically?
Okay, so we are looking at cohesion in its holistic sense. In fact, the first day's panel discussion is focused on exploring the various dimensions of social cohesion. So we look at the vertical dimension, the horizontal dimensions of social cohesion. So I believe that these things will come up, and together we will carve out, strategies to deal with them.
Okay. And maybe let me just add that, just to premise it properly, that this is not it's not the first endeavor around peace in Ghana. I think that has to be made clear. The forum is not going to be the one to tell security forces what to do. In fact, to commend national security, I think a lot is happening under the Fusion Center and under the ministry. A lot of initiatives are happening. There's a lot of awareness and dedication, and that's why this is
see something, say something.
Exactly. So a lot of public awareness and engagement is happening. So this is not the event where we are now going to kind of launch this movement. It's more, how do we tie the pieces together? And as I described earlier on, we're looking at a multi-stakeholder endeavor where we see how do we advance, how do we work as a community rather than in silos. And that's why we're bringing everybody, community, youth, everybody around the table, so we can all speak the same language and march forward. And ultimately that we understand that all of this is about human development. And we cannot have development without peace. Not only peace, but justice.
Absolutely.
And so for us to think about the overall economic development of Ghana, it hinges on peace. And again, there are a lot of initiatives. I know World Bank has the Soko project that is ongoing. The British are supporting Accra, and the European and the diplomatic community supporting Accra initiative. Government is doing a lot. The church is doing its part. Various entities. But how do we enhance coordination and a common way forward? Yeah.
So next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, 30th and 31st of July is the SPI program, SPI National SPI program, forum, which will target peace building in this country. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming. So did you give out the online detail for those who want to join online?
So we'll share that later.
Okay. So we'll share that to you on all our platforms. Thank you very much, Richard Akurugu. He's Executive Director, Caritas Ghana. Reverend Father Michael Kweku is Director of Governance, Justice and Peace, National Catholic Secretariat. And Daniel Mooney is Country Representative, Catholic Relief Services, CRS Ghana. That's it.